Good morning you guys, it's Karen and I am here to talk about this Photography Fluid Tan Opacity 8% by Niod. I couldn't decide between the 12% and the 8%. The 12% is obviously more opaque, is that what I mean? Translucent, opaque, yeah, more opaque, but it is a lighter colour and this one is a tan colour. Let me show you what this is like first off. You don't need to squeeze at all because it will just drop off on its own. It's exactly the same as I mentioned for the Survival 30. I don't like this dropper bottle. It's not working for this product in my opinion. You can see that it's messy around the top and that's after me cleaning it several times. Every time I use it, I go round it with my finger and then get a piece of cotton wool as well and clean it. And it's just, there's such liquidy products. You can see they're running down my hand, that it just makes it messy in the bottle. And when you, like there, I didn't quite, my hand wasn't steady enough and it's just dripped it down the side. And so you need to like get it quickly from the pot to your face or to your hand or to however you're going to use it. But that is what it looks like. So the idea is that this one is a tan colour and the 12% is, although more opaque, it is, I think, more of a highlighter. So that's what it looks like when it, you know, just put on in a wanna, but once you rub it in, you'll see it's a beautiful colour. And this reminds me of the Benefit, I can't remember what it was called. Is it called Dew something? Dew the Hula, I think. Do you remember I got a tiny little bottle and I really liked using that underneath my makeup. It just seemed to, it's weird, you wouldn't think it would show through a foundation, would you? But it really did. So you can see now the colour on that hand and the colour on that hand. So I'm going to read you through what exactly it is, its claims, etc., and tell you what I think. Okay, the description is that the Fluid Tan Opacity 8 complements Niod's Photography Fluid Opacity 12. To offer radiance in life and through the camera lens. So you've got one that is a light sort of highlighter and one that is more of a bronzy colour, which is the one I'm talking about. It's a serum textured surface treatment. Yes, it does feel like a serum, a very, very light liquidy serum. Textured surface treatment complements the approach of Niod's Photography Fluid Opacity 12% by balancing light absorption effects in contrast to light reflection focus of the Opacity 12, with selective reflectiveness of darker interface pigments. Like Photography Fluid 12%, this effort is supported by perfecting prisms and topical photo finishing technologies to offer radiance in life and specifically through the camera lens. There's a whole lot of photography information there, isn't there? And even I get a bit confused reading through it. I say that because obviously I am a semi-professional photographer. It goes on to talk about the HD suspension technology, saying that it doesn't feel powdery. There's an even distribution of colours. The bronze technology is a mesh bronze suspension. It blends into the skin tone for a natural bronzed hue to highlight the base caramel tone of the formulation. Nano prismatic gold technology disappears immediately upon application with a natural golden hue as a foundation to healthy looking radiant skin. Yeah, it does disappear immediately, and it leaves a beautiful finish, lovely, lovely finish. It doesn't feel tacky. Doesn't feel drying. It doesn't feel oily or greasy or anything like that. It's absolutely lovely. There's a lot more information there. There's a lot more paragraphs about how it works, but it seems to me to be basically a sort of light reflecting or light dispersing tool between this one and the 12%. I find it odd that the titles they give to the products, to be honest, because I feel like they don't really, I don't know whether they're purposely trying to be different. They don't really describe exactly what the product is. The directions for it is Photography Fluid 8% can be used on its own to add a natural golden tan radiance to any skin tone. It can be used alongside the Photography 12% to create a natural and blended contouring effect with with the 12% used above the cheekbones and the 8% used below. And it can also be used alongside traditional colour formulations, i.e. the foundations. So I have tried it under foundation, and it depends on obviously the foundation you use. If you use a very light foundation, then I think it would give you some colour underneath. But for me, just using it underneath didn't change anything on top. I tried it just all over my face and then putting a foundation on and couldn't see any difference. I tried it just putting it all over here and putting my foundation on top, and then looking to see is there any difference between this side and this side. And I think there would be if you mixed it in with a little bit of foundation and a little bit of this, so that you weren't putting one on top of the other. Because if you put that on as a base and then you put a full coverage foundation on, I feel like you are covering up and you're not going to get any benefit from it. But if you mixed it in, I feel like bits of it would shine through. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to use it, but I have got it on today. I have actually got it on along my cheekbones here. I haven't used any bronzer at all. I've used it in the way that I would the Gosh drops. Do you know, I like the Gosh liquid bronze drops. It actually reminds me a lot of that. And so I just tapped it onto my cheekbones. What I'll do in a moment is I'll pull you up closer and show you using it that way. So you can use it three ways. You could use it on its own. On its own, I think it would look lovely. I think if you just put that on your skin, on your face and neck, and blended it in, I think that would look really lovely, very kind of healthy look. If you're going to use it under a foundation, I would say use it under a light foundation. If you want to use it with a fuller coverage one, I would say just mix a few drops in. There's a lot of products like this out there, isn't there? Or you can use it, as I said, as I have done, just tapping it along my cheekbones. So let me get you closer. Now, I did use a brush with it this morning, but I'm going to just use my fingers just now. And like I said, I need to be really careful, especially because I've got jeans on and I don't want to have to change my clothes. I'm just going to tap that against my skin because there's plenty on the applicator. It looks a kind of metallic, what was that colour I'm thinking of, the colour name? I can't think. It's almost got a green hue to it. Okay, so one thing we can learn from that is that you don't want to be doing it, you need to blend it in pretty quickly because it dried while I was just at the door there, and doesn't look great. So let's try it on the other side. That side worked a lot better, but I can see even, I'd obviously put my hands, hopefully I've not got any on my top, but I've got some all over my hands, and I didn't put any on my hands. That was obviously from holding the bottle where it sort of dripped down or whatever. It's just so difficult to use in that bottle. I really think it would be better, I don't know, maybe in a pump bottle or something. It's just such a thin fluid that it's hard to use that way. You know what would be nice if it was on a sponge tip one, you know, like the concealer, I've just reviewed this, or like the Maybelline Agery one, do you know, with a little sponge top. It might work quite well like that, but I think that side looks better. It still would need a bit of blending because I did it with my finger, so I think probably doing it with a brush is better. And that side looks a bit muddy because it just dried while I was waiting at the door for the guy to scan the things he was giving me. It was a postman. I think I told you the price of this. It's £21 for this 30ml. Is it 30ml? Yeah, 30ml. So that's kind of like a typical high-end price, high-end cosmetic price, isn't it? I've looked at the ingredients. There's a lot of ingredients. I don't recognise what they are, but there's nothing of concern in there. Nothing I can see that is concerning at all. I think it's a nice product. I think it's as nice as the Benefit Do the Hoola. I think it's as nice as my Gosh drops. I would say that I haven't seen anything amazing with this that I haven't got from my Gosh liquid bronzing drops. But you maybe, if you're in the US, I don't know if you have Gosh products. And so this is certainly very, very similar to that. And it sounds like this has better technology for photography, etc. But I just don't know how many people will be concerned with that. Or I don't know how many people will be excited by that unless it translates into videos as well. You know, unless my skin looks better because I've got this underneath my foundation, perhaps I should... Well, we'll see. I'll do an application of this later on because I am putting some foundation on later on a video. So yeah, I'll put some of this on the top and we'll see if it, underneath, sorry, and see if it makes any difference to how my skin looks on screen, on videos and whatnot. That might be a reason to buy this one. Other than that, I feel like this is, it's obviously not an essential item. It is just a luxury, nice to have item, I feel like. And I'm not sure what I think about the lighter one. I don't know whether I will try the 12%. I'm interested in it more because this is 8% and that one's 12%, so that one would be more concentrated than I am more than the fact that it's a lighter version, if you see what I mean, because I have had like the Gosh bronzer drops you can also get in a almost white colour, and I never ever used them. They were fine, but I don't ever seem to use highlighters, cream highlighters, but I do like cream bronzers, and that's essentially what this is. I think probably the best way to use this would be to add a few drops to your foundation. I think I might have already said that, and I don't know whether I would do that though. I think I'm more likely to use it as I did this morning, not where I showed you. I had already used it underneath. Instead of bronzer, just using it in this area where I would normally put bronzer, and then put just powder on top of it, and then I'd put my blush sort of on the apple of my cheeks here, and that seems to look like a lovely natural colour, and if it's got some good properties to it for photography, then that's a bonus, you know. So that's everything there is to tell you about it. I hope that you found that useful. We'll order something else soon from the Niod website. I don't really want to order the copper isolate just yet because I'm still using other things from The Ordinary, the niacin and the matrixyl, and I don't want to contaminate that research, if you like, so I might not order that just yet, but maybe the hydration vaccine. Or what would you guys recommend? What have you really enjoyed from them? So yeah, that's everything. I'll list all of my makeup, etc. in the description, and I will speak to you.